You know, there really aren't too many people that have a setup like this on their house, but I'm one of them. As some of you guys may remember, a little over a year ago, I did a video on a Leslie RS3L that I acquired. And I still very much have that horn, but horns are like potato chips. You can't have just one, and since these don't really count as train horns, although that is a Grover horn off of a semi-truck, and that's a little custom-built thing that I kind of threw together. They don't actually count as train horns, so I say that I have one locomotive horn. Well, had one locomotive horn. That was until I acquired this. This is a Nathan Airchime P3, all new cast. I got this from a gentleman who was selling it on eBay. And then when eBay tried to kind of cheat him out of some money, he contacted me. He said, well, let's just cancel the sale and we'll meet in person and exchange it there. So he drove up to the desert here and I paid him cash and ended up with this little beauty. Rumor has it that this is an ex-Southern Pacific horn. I can't verify that. It would be cool, but part of me is quite doubtful of that. I'll show you a couple things. If we look down in there, I'm not sure if you can see, but it says Pat Penned, and it says that on all the feet of the bells, which means that this is a new cast horn. It also has back here a tag on it with a 20K serial number, so that's pretty cool. Single Nathan back caps. He did plumb the horn to be fed from the side port rather than the bottom. I'm not particularly a fan of that, but I will probably swap that out. There's a plug down there in the base, and I'll put that one there so that I can feed it from the bottom like I have my Leslie, which is how I prefer it. The one major thing that I am concerned about with this horn that I got it, I did get it for a cheap price, so it wasn't a deal breaker, but I didn't know it until I got it, but the foot of the number 2 bell has a nice crack all the way through it. Fortunately, I know that a man by the name of Mike Muha, I've heard wonderful things about him. He apparently can fix that kind of thing. Because this horn has a damaged foot, and because I'm going to have to do a couple changes to it, I'm not concerned about messing with it. So what I would like to do is swap some of the bells around so that the number 4 is in the middle where the number 1 is. And I may even buy a number 3 and a number 5 bell in the future and make it into a P5. But for now it's a P3, which is a horn that I have wanted for some time. And now I have it. So we have air in the tanks right at about 100 and just shy of 140. Oops, a little dusty there. Just shy of 140, which is what locomotives operate at. So let's give it a blast. We have my small air setup, 20-gallon tank going to a converted potbelly compressor and a 5-gallon tank, just enough to get some noise out of it to test it. That's not my main air setup. My main air setup is that over there. It's a little bit bigger. Anyways, enough about that. Let's hear the voice of the Southern Pacific and see if we can get it to echo. It's a little bit windier than I would like, just a little bit, but we'll see if we can get some echoes off those hills like we did the Leslie.
Side of the engine.
All right, well, there we go. New cast Nathan Airchime P3. Sorry, my shadow's in the way. Sounds pretty good. I was expecting some issues, but it does sound pretty healthy to me. That doesn't mean that I still don't want to get that foot fixed. That's something that does need to be addressed to help the longevity of the horn. But it does sound good. Sounds like a P3. Sounds like new cast. Sounds like the Southern Pacific. So now I have 2 3 chimes from my 2 favorite railroads, the Santa Fe and the Southern Pacific. And not a bad air setup, given the limitations of what I felt like putting together. Charging that big 80-gallon tank over there is a bit of a, it's a bit of an undertaking, but it can be done. All right, well, thanks for watching. As I say, I want to get in contact with Michael Muha and get him to see if he can fix that foot. I know he can. And that's pretty much it. I just want to, as a note, given the small amount of air that I have, that only used about 50 pounds of air, which is far, far less than the Leslie would use. Those big Leslie chambers, man, just gobble up air. But right there, sitting pretty. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you trackside. Keep on honking.